In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Circuit Maker by Altium to export your Gerber files so that you can make your boards with Prometheus. So to begin, we're going to open Circuit Maker and we're going to open the general purpose regulator project, which was forked by Ben Jordan's original design. And here we can see the layout. And one of the things that's important to do in Circuit Maker and other programs when you want to prepare for export for Prometheus is you have to set the origin to the lower left corner of the board. So as you can see here, there's a little bit of a gap. It's not set exactly on the corner of the board, but you want to leave a little bit of space there. And the real requirement is that you need all of the Gerber image objects here. The Gerber objects need to be in the positive X and Y quadrant. So once you do that, then you can export your Circuit Maker Gerbers. And so to do that, you're going to go to Output tab and then click on the Gerber button. It'll ask you to save the project, so just go ahead and click OK. And then for Gerber setup here, you could select inches or millimeters, but I'll just leave it as inches, and the format 2.5 is good. For layers, we just want to check that the top layer is checked off, the bottom layer, and the outline. So we want those 3 Gerber files to be generated. We're later going to import those into ProCAM, which is the software that commands Prometheus to make the board. So I'm just going to save those Gerber outputs here. And next we want the drill files. So it's going to prompt you to do the same thing to save the file. For the options here for the NC drill setup, we want to make sure that we're using the reference to the relative origin there. We don't want to use absolute, we want to make sure it's using what we selected, and we'll select 2.5 for the format to make it match with our Gerber files. And everything else looks okay. And we'll save this file as well. And that's it. Now you should have the 4 files that you need to import into ProCAM. So this is a pretty simple board. There's a top layer and there's the bottom. There's not too much to it, so it won't take Prometheus much time to do this demo. So now we will open up ProCAM and we're going to browse to our newly created Gerber files. Click OK. And now you're going to see the preview, and then you'll see the copper layer imported. Same thing for the bottom. And you can drag this wherever you want on the board. Typically, I like to put it in the center. Then we'll open up the drill file. For this, for Circuit Maker, you want to find the .txt extension for the drill file. And you want to check that they're all aligned and centered where they need to be, and this looks fine. You can click the eyeball to hide and show each layer. So we see the drill file looks good. So next is the cutout file, or the edge file. So we'll go to our Gerber folder, and that's going to be the .outline file. So we want to open up that one. And there we go. So we have all our files imported. We have the top copper, bottom, the drill holes, and the edge cuts. So now we can go to our operations list on the right, and we see that here we have options to select what size bit we want to use for our top and bottom layers. So I'll start with the top. I'm going to hide the bottom layer so we can see the top more clearly. Zoom in a little bit. And we want to pick something that fits in the gaps there between the copper. But you don't want to go any smaller than necessary, because if you do that, then it's just a greater expense in bits and you have to run Prometheus more slowly. So it's always good to choose the largest bit possible that can get you the results that you need. So in this case, we'll try 10 mil here and see what that looks like. And you can see that ProCAM, once you select that bit, it will create this green tool path. And that's offset by the radius of the bit, so you can see the actual path that the bit's going to follow. And you just want to check that everything looks right, that it's carving in between these gaps in the copper. Then we'll do the same thing for the bottom layer. So I'll go with 10 mils as well. And then you can click continue. So here we see that the current step on the upper right is registration holes. So this is going to drill 2 holes, one on the left and one on the right. The reason for this is because ProCAM knows that you imported 2 layers. So this is a double-sided board. So it's going to drill these 2 holes so that after you mill the top layer, you can flip the board and it'll make sure that you're aligning the bottom layer to the top layer. So there's no offset and everything lines up and the drill holes line up. So you just go through the prompt here on the right and the checklist, click drill, and you'll see that now it prompts you to insert a 0.125 inch drill bit. So once you do that, you can click continue. And now Prometheus drills the holes. Once Prometheus drills the holes, we can secure the board to the table using the alignment pins and double-sided tape. Once we do that, then we can click the right arrow to go to the next step, which is the top layer, as we see here. And you just want to check the preview to make sure that everything looks right. And then if it does, there's another checklist on the right. And so we'll go through and check off that the board is secured, that we have installed a 10 mil end mill for this case, which we have, and you're wearing safety glasses. Then once you check off the entire list, the probe button will enable, and that's the next step. Once you click probe, it'll give you this prompt to make sure that you've connected an alligator clip between the copper-clad board and the probing bar. And this is important because you need electrical connection there. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Clip the board and then clip the probing bar. And then we can click continue, and Prometheus will immediately start probing. The probing operation takes about 90 seconds, but I'll just show you a brief clip here. And then once we do that, we can click the start milling button. And here I've applied mineral oil first. So for every milling operation, you should have a puddle of mineral oil on the board, and this will keep the copper chips and the fiberglass dust suspended in the oil so that it's not in the air and you're not breathing it in. For the other operations, like drilling and edge routing, you'll have a vacuum to suck up the dust. So milling this top side took less than 5 minutes to do. So since it's not that long, I'll just show the whole clip here. There is one edit, or rather one cut, where I change camera angles. But other than that, you'll see the whole process. So if you don't want to watch that, you can feel free to skip ahead. So what you're seeing here is a spindle that's operating at 50,000 RPM, and the end mill has a diameter of 10 mils, or 1/100th of an inch. And the feed rate, if I remember correctly, is 40 inches per minute for this size. And the reason that we can run such a small end mill that fast is because the run out of the spindle, which is a measure of how much it wobbles, is very low. Next, we pry up the board. This way we can flip it over and start milling the bottom layer. So in ProCAM, we click the right arrow, and that'll take us to the next step, which is the bottom layer. And it's the same kind of process. We have a checklist on the right, and we'll have to do another probing operation, and then we can start milling. So we'll have to make sure that the board is secured. We installed the correct bit, wearing our safety glasses, click probe, we get the same prompt, and I won't show that again because it's the same kind of thing. Then once that's all done, you can click the start milling button, and again Prometheus will start milling the bottom layer this time. And the reason that we know that our bottom layer is going to be perfectly aligned with our top is because when we set the board down with double-sided tape, we're using the same alignment holes and alignment pins. Since there wasn't too much to the bottom side of this board, I think this was less than 2 minutes. Here's our bottom layer after wiping off the mineral oil. And this time we have to insert a sacrificial layer of plastic in between the board and the table to prepare for the drilling operations. So here's what it looks like. So again, you just press it down with double-sided tape, you remove the alignment pins, and then we can click through the prompt in ProCAM and begin drilling. And ProCAM will tell you what size drill bit to insert, and if you use multiple sizes, once it's done with one set of drills, it'll give you another pop-up and tell you what what bit size to insert. Now here I'm holding the vacuum, but that's going to change. There will be a clamp-on mount that'll attach to the spindle head that will hold the vacuum hose, so you don't have to do that. I'll just show one more set of holes. So here's Prometheus drilling, I think 1 millimeter size holes. Lastly, we're going to have Prometheus actually cut out the edge of the board. And so that's what it's doing here. It'll make 2 passes to cut all the way through the copper clad. And then once that's done, we'll have our finished board. To learn more about the Circuit Maker software that we used to export the Gerber files in this video, you can visit circuitmaker.com. Visit zippyrobotics.com to learn more about Prometheus. Thanks for watching.